Record, please. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, one moment. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to another Monday night show. Today, we got a great guest with us. But first, before we get started on that, and as we let people slowly come in, fashionably late, just a little bit of background of where all this came from, a little bit about myself. If it is your first time here, definitely want you to get into the mood and the vibe of this call and the culture of what we continue to create. So I like to start by just reading a kind of like a prayer for the day for every one of us. And then I want to read something else real quick. So just to get everybody, into the right frame of thought and mind. So, okay, today I align myself with the will of a loving universe. The universe is not random, but intentional. As a reflection of the divine mind, it intends love and happiness for all living things. The question I want to ask myself in any situation is, am I aligned with the will of the universe? If I am seeking only my own goals, if I am blaming anyone or living in the past, if I am competing but not collaborating, then I am not aligned with a loving universe. I choose instead a miraculous path. I enter every situation with only one intention: to be a vessel of love and a blessing on my surroundings. May all people who I meet or even think of receiving my love. I needn't worry whether the universe intends my greater good, for it intends a greater good for all living things. The divine weaver is always weaving. I am a thread in the eternal tapestry of God's golden creation, no more or less than anyone else. My accepting this allows me to relax into a consistent knowing that I am blessed. I shall feel this blessing as I choose to bless others. Okay, so welcome again. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Alex, and I've been running this mastermind call for a little more than a year and a half now. And I started when I moved to Peru and I was living basically financially free and I didn't have to really do anything. I woke up in the morning, like I looked at the mountains and then I was like, what do I want to eat today? I didn't have like an agenda. Now being back in the States, I go to sleep, I have a lot on my mind, even though I go to sleep really, really quickly. But when I wake up, my mind starts racing again. What do I have to do today? What bills do we have to pay? All the stuff around money and just checklists of things to do every day. So, this book by Brandon Burchard, The Motivation Manifesto, it actually talks about that all human beings desire to become free. Freedom from oppression, financially free, spiritually free, emotionally free. And that is really what we're all seeking. So I hope that as a result of being on this call, that this intention shines through in our conversation, even though this conversation may not have anything to do with it, but it does. And so my intention on this call always is to spread and inspire more love all the time, even though we're going to talk about multifamily. Um, 6 years ago, actually, no, about 9 years ago, I I made a bunch of money in real estate and I bought into two restaurants. I don't know why I chose to do it, but I thought restaurant was a great place to be cool, to own a business, to still be the man on my college campus, whatever it was. I basically lost everything. I lost the restaurant. I lost the triplex that I had that was amazing. I lost my car. My car got repoed. So if anybody has their car repoed before, Like that is not a good place to be. My cell phone, I couldn't afford to pay for Verizon anymore. And I packed up all my stuff. This was back in New Jersey. And I packed up all my stuff, literally nothing. Okay. And at that point, I was like, all right, God, everything that I've done hasn't worked. You know, my relationship didn't work. The restaurant, the strain of financials oftentimes kind of leaks into our personal relationships. So it really destroyed my relationship as well. And, you know, giving all of that over, I realized that, you know, there was a moment that, and I heard this from Michael Blank yesterday, actually, and it reminded me of exactly how I got out of all this darkness that I was in, all this worry and all this overwhelm that I was feeling, you know, of not good enough, of being a failure. And I had to share with people my failures because failures actually oftentimes are the greatest lessons that we have. Right. So if I could show somebody where not to go and how not to fail in certain areas in the pursuit of financial freedom, then this is my duty. So I got into a coaching program. I learned to be a life coach. I learned to be a life coach. I was in a transformational program called Gratitude Training. And it was a lot of like Tony Robbins like stuff. It was NLP, mind shifts, uh, limiting beliefs, dealing with all of that. So on this call, being here, we want to add a program, okay? And the ask from me to you is to open yourselves up enough to let a new program come in and shake you up a little bit. Because as a program is put into a new operating system, let's say, you know, or into an old operating system, if it's not compatible, like if I downloaded the new OS system in my iPhone 7, the program doesn't work very well. And we start to blame the program. But really, it's the operating system. We were not the space to have this new information come in. So I ask that everybody here be open-minded, be kind. Okay, be kind. There's a distinction between kind and nice. You can fake nice, but you cannot fake kindness. Kindness comes from this genuine, authentic place. So allow yourself to be kind in your thoughts, in your, if you're on video, then in your face expressions, right? Like intentionally put a kind face on. We all have it in us. So it's about changing this operating system to allow this new program to fit. And I have in the last 4 years, 5 years, gone from 450K in debt, 400 credit score, can't afford a Verizon phone bill, living in some tiny, tiny studio that would, it's not even you can't even consider it a studio. It was less than 200 square feet. And now I have $1 million business, multi-million dollar real estate portfolio, and I mentor, you know, over 60 people. So that is all possible in such a short time. And really, majority of that came in the last year since I've really decided to share. And on this call, I want to inspire everyone to share your stories. Share your stories with people. Okay, this is the multifamily game is really just about sharing stories. If you want to create a successful business, it's about sharing stories. It's about sharing your gifts, sharing your stories, sharing your successes, sharing your failures. And the more people's lives that you can touch, the more successful you will be, and the capacity to allow more money to flow through you will happen. Yeah, so that's how this call really came about. And in order to start cultivating this energy, this culture, this vibe, why don't we put in the comments, okay, in the chat, just something that you are grateful for today. Okay, it could be anything. Everyone just put your stuff that what are you grateful for? Um, and I'll say that I'm grateful for my team. I'm grateful for all the people that's got my back. I'm grateful for my wife that's always supporting me. Grateful for life, grateful for family, yes. Children, husband. Yeah, so many of the things that we just take for granted every day as well. So practicing and cultivating this gratitude. Grateful for YouTube. I knew that was you, JJ. So that's a little bit about me, about my story, about how this call came about. We started with 3 people on this call. Now we consistently have, I don't know how many people's in here right now. We have consistently over 50, 60 people on this call. And to actually hold that level of interest and to have this every single week, actually multiple times a week, it requires consistency. Okay, that's all it required. It didn't require some heroic feat. I didn't have to go defeat some monster or do anything that's really that big. It wasn't grand. It's not really exciting. It's really sometimes, most of the times, it's just boring. But it's about the consistency. So you want to find the things that you're grateful for, why you're doing the things that you're doing, and why you would even spend the time to show up to this call. And I say this as a reminder every time on my calls is, why are you here? It's up to you to find out why you're here. And setting the intention and knowing why you're here actually will help you find the golden nuggets on this call. Because I guarantee you, the speaker that I have brought onto the call today, very knowledgeable, and we're going to have a showdown because he's big in the hotel industry. And he's been enrolling me into hotels. But I want to kind of show it to you guys on a Monday night call here. We're going to have a little battle of multifamily and hotels. So get engaged, participate. I have my phone right here, so I can also see the comments as well. If you have questions and if you're like, oh, yeah, definitely multifamily, say why it is that you believe in multifamily more than hotels. If you believe in hotels, say why you believe in hotels over multifamily, because that's what we're going to be doing for about 45 minutes on this call. Then we'll open it up for questions, and may multifamily win. I mean, may you guys have the right questions to give you guys the thing that you're looking for. And towards the end of the call, what we're going to do is we're going to have a breakout room. This is the speed networking part. Okay, we're going to break you guys out into, I think, a room of 4, Nick, moving forward might be the best because people are saying that it's too short. So it'll be 2 to 3 10-minute breakout rooms where you get to connect with 4 people. And trust, have faith that the 4 people, there are 3 other people in that room with you, are exactly who needs to be there. Either you are there to provide some sort of service for them, or they're going to provide some sort of service for you. And I've been waiting to get into hotels. All right. Vegas has got hotels, and Vegas has got multifamily as well. So let's just, I think we've used up enough time. And if people are going to be late, they're just going to be more late. But I appreciate everybody that's here right now, being on time or a little bit late. Really, really appreciate your time. Really appreciate that you would spend a Monday night for an hour and a half with me.
Okay? Okay? Porque si no, ahí sí verás de aguantar. Well, you had to tell me, okay?
All right, Nick, you're going to have to help me out because where I'm sitting now, I literally have no control over Zoom. I just look into a screen right in front of me. And
I got you.
This is the new setup. I hope you guys like it. Also, another announcement real quick. Another announcement is that I have a virtual summit coming up on 4/20. It's a 1-day conference. Okay, so just clear your schedule for that because it's a collection of 20 or so of mentors and teachers in my life that has led me to where I am today, that has helped me overcome my challenges, helped me grow my social media and my Instagram that just literally hit 100K right now. I'm super excited on this call, and have helped me develop the mindset, the person that I am, the character I am, to attract all you amazing people, to attract the most wonderful wife. You know, she is totally a unicorn. I don't even know how I landed her, but just so amazing. If you guys ever get a chance to meet her, you would know right away. There's the unicorn right there. Yeah. So, okay. That conference is going to be on 420. It's in my Instagram. People like Vina Jetty will be there, Robert Martinez, Brad Sumrock. Hopefully, Michael Blank will be there as well. He just responded today. And if everybody can just send some good, loving energies to Marianne Williamson, who is my #1 hero in my life, if she makes it to that conference, it would be the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. So I don't know, maybe spam her, tag her. But for those of you guys that don't, it is not shameless at all. I'm just plugging. For those of you guys that I don't know and you want to get connected, we could be friends on Instagram so that we could be official. Okay, we can be official friends. Take a picture or something of this Zoom call or of yourself watching this Zoom call and tag me at Alex Lovely on Instagram so that I can know who you are and then tag you back, follow you back, and start our relationship that way. Because we may not get a chance to speak to each other here. And I want to speak to you. I want us to have this conversation or whatever conversation. So yeah, take a screenshot, take a picture, something, and tag me on Instagram. So those are the two things I wanted to announce. Also, we have a great multifamily deal in Las Vegas that we are still raising money for. It will be closed April 21st. Oh, sorry. Phone call. Put do not disturb on. But yeah, let's just get to it. Okay. Enough of this stalling and self-promoting all that. Let's bring Sujay up to the front. Sujay, are you here? I think I saw your name.
I'm here, man. I'm here.
Oh, there he is. Stud. All right, so Sujay, I can edify you. I can talk about how great you are and everything, but I'm gonna let you do it. And I know you're a humble dude, but I want you to at least tell people what you've accomplished, who you are, what space you're in, how much of it you own, okay, and your net worth and social security and your American Express card number. So just those things, and let's go.
No, I love it, Alex, man. It's an honor. Can you guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you.
It's an honor, man. And you know why, as you were talking, the reason why I love spending time with you, being on calls like this is because it's exactly what you said, right? The world is so fast today, and like there's nothing else where you start off talking about real estate, but you take 15 or 20 minutes talking about life and what it means to be kind, what it means to, what are you grateful for? And that little moment of taking a step back and introspecting and reflecting, that's what life is all about. And that's why we do what we do. And so I just want to appreciate, I know it takes time, and everyone, 15 minutes times 67 people that are on this call right now. So, we're putting in so much time reflecting on this, and, I think that's what it's all about. So I just want to appreciate that, and, appreciate everybody else as well, who takes out that time on a Monday night, busiest part of the week. Right. So I think that's awesome. Again, alluding back to what Alex said, introducing myself, I hate that question. Because, like, who am I? Who really am I? And, I don't think like how much I've earned or what I've done in my career should define me. But with that being said, everyone has to know who's talking. And so my background is in hotels, as Alex alluded to. I went to Ohio State. I'm a Buckeye.
Oh, snap.
Yep. So a lot of times it's Ohio against the world. So I'm used to my back against the wall and all you multifamily guys. So I'm ready to come and battle. But yeah, I went to Ohio State, graduated in 2014. When I started my real estate career, I didn't even know what ROI was. I didn't know what NOI was. I didn't know what cap rates were. So all of you are way ahead of the curve, definitely ahead of me when I started. But since then, we've created a portfolio of 13 hotels. Done some other investments as well, in multifamily, single family, startups, all, you know, we're entrepreneurs. So we try to diversify a little bit. My firm is called Bloom Ventures. You can look us up, bloom.ventures. Find me on Instagram, Suj Mehta. But yeah, you know, meeting Alex, I've been inspired to, you know, try to give whatever I've learned back to all the wonderful people who are trying to do great things in the world, and hopefully they can learn from our failures or the mistakes that we've made, so that way they don't have to make the same ones, and they can continue to do great things in the world with the freedom of time and the, you know, not having to work for money and having money. So money is a resource, and having that resource, or good people having that tool in their hands, will do good things in the world. So
All right, awesome, dude. I mean, I like I said, this dude is super humble. He didn't go into all the different. He alluded a little bit to, oh, I'm an operator of 13 hotels. Okay, let's just get into it then. Hotels. Tell me why hotels. I mean, you believe hotels over multifamily?
absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, let's
any
hear
day
it.
of the week, any day of the week. And it's simple, right? And so I'll get into it a little bit more. So
Except today.
we franchise with hotels. So we own Hiltons, Marriott's, Hyatt's. We develop them ground up construction as well as acquisitions. So when interest rates were low, we were definitely going out in the market and acquiring them, because we don't have to wait for that development period of 2 years while we're building it. But with that being said, I love development, because when you develop, you can close your eyes and you can imagine something and you can make it a reality, right? You see a piece of land, you can envision, you know, an artistic view or a very modern look or a Georgian look, a European look, and you can make that a reality, whatever you envision. So the reason why I love hotels over multifamily, it's really twofold. One is the cap rates are much higher in hotels, right? So when you're going out in the competitive space of multifamily, where everybody's trying to get into it, cap rates for a Class A asset are under 3%. You look in Class B asset, you can maybe find a 4%, you know, cap rate. Class C, a little bit higher than that. But hotels, when you're looking at a Hilton or a Marriott, you're automatically starting at an 8% cap rate. And so that right there, what does cap rate tell you? Cap rate tells you that you're going to have a lot of cash flow. And so the beautiful thing about hotels is every single year I'm taking money home. And hotels or real estate is a slow game. It's something that you want to create a portfolio. You want to slowly build these blocks, allowing you freedom in the future. With hotels, while you have those assets in your portfolio, you're not getting a 5% return on your investment, but now you're getting a 10, 12% return every single year. So that's $100 invested gives you $10 to $12 in your pocket every year. Plus you're paying down your loan, you're building the equity in the asset, it's appreciating over time. So when you exit, of course, you're going to be able to cash out on all of that equity that's being built. So there's two components. It's the business component plus the real estate component. So hotels all day, every day. Haven't even thought about the tax benefits. All right,
my turn. Okay, so normally things with higher cap rates means you got to do more stuff. Okay, you got to do more stuff. You got to manage more people. There's more risk to it. All right, because I can say, you know what? I'll flip houses. I'll do Airbnbs and I'll get higher return. I'll get a higher cap rate than hotels. Then should I do that? I mean, I have 12 Airbnbs. I manage 12 people and I'm about to lose my mind. And I don't even do it. My wife does it. And through watching her, I'm about to lose my mind. So how many people work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So each hotel has about 15 employees, plus minus. So the bigger ones might have about 20 employees. Smaller ones, you know, might have like 12, 13 employees. So depends on that full-time, part-time component of it.
Yeah. And I was hanging out with you just for a day a couple of weeks ago. And literally you got like 20 freaking phone calls in like an hour about your hotel, about the same one. So that I mean, it just seems like, is it possible to create financial freedom through that? Can you scale it? How many hotels can you buy?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can scale, right? And you have to, it starts you can't go straight into multifamily. It starts with a couple, maybe, residential properties or maybe a couple Airbnbs, and you got to learn it. And then you can get more doors under one roof, and then you scale, and you start building your team, right? And so with hotels, the beautiful thing is that there is third-party management companies, just like multifamily, which most people are doing. And I had the pleasure of hanging out with Alex in Houston. We were hanging out with Robert Martinez as well. And I think, most of your group probably knows of him. And so he was talking about the importance of being a hands-on operator. And so there is the option to do third-party management. I myself am an operator as well. And I single-handedly can manage 13 hotels. And
dang, son. What about 33 hotels?
So then that's when you build a team, right? You get 2 or 3 people under you. You start building those layers, which we do have now. We have a district manager and those sorts of things. So the beautiful thing is you can't do everything yourself. You have to build a team. And when you have a manager at every single property, so I'm not there. I haven't been back to my properties in about 60 days. And they're still cranking every single day, right? We're renting out the rooms, every single thing. And that's the other thing, with hotels versus multifamily. With multifamily, you have a 12-month lease. So you rent out your unit for 12 months. We rent out our units every single day. So this weekend is going to be a busy weekend at one of our properties. We have a big soccer tournament coming. What do you know? Our rates for that day is $165. And we can take advantage of that market demand every single day. And we're making $7,000-8,000 per property every day, and that's because we're renting it out every day. We're not locked into a long-term lease. So
okay. Somebody asked, how did you get started in construction of hotels so young? So you are young. You're like, how old are you? You're as young as I am, right?
31.
31. Yeah, somewhere around the same age. Okay. So how did you get started so young? I mean, this is 13 hotels at 31. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, the funny part is I actually started out as a neuroscience major, right? So I graduated college, again, neuroscience, didn't know what ROI was, didn't know what cap rate was.
You put that thing to work for sure.
Yeah, we figured it out. But but it's definitely an asset class that anyone can start with. I went to India for a couple of years, and I did a philosophy program. Me and Alex got to talk about it a little bit. So I didn't actually start in real estate until I was almost 25 years old. And ironically, and I don't recommend starting in development or construction first. I recommend maybe going through the acquisition process first. But I fortunately started out with development. So I found a piece of land, and I thought it was a beautiful piece of land right off the exit. We call it frontage. So it had a lot of frontage right off the main exit road, and just literally a minute, 30 seconds off the exit. And I was like, this is a great piece of land. And I started thinking, what can I do? What can I develop on it? Is it multifamily? But multifamily, people don't want to live near the highway, right? You're hearing all the cars passing by, and the horn, all of that stuff, the sirens. So I naturally started gravitating towards hotels, and I thought this would be great right off the exit. We could have a sign over there, all that stuff. So that's really how I started, and I just started digging further and further and further, and I aligned myself or partnered myself with people who had some experience in the hotel industry. And so I was able to bring them on, get a good flag or franchise. So if you guys have heard of Holiday Inn, so Holiday Inn was the brand that I aligned myself with in the very beginning on my first project. And I brought someone who had some Holiday Inn experience. They awarded us the brand just because, they were there, they were able to, put their name on the application, and we took care of them, gave them equity. And then we raised capital. So then we started syndicating. And really the beautiful thing about real estate and being an entrepreneur is you're always a student. You'll never know everything, to begin with. And I see 506C over here, so we have some educated syndicators on the call, but it was actually not it was not a syndication. We raised it with friends and family, and we gave them straight equity for their investment, and then I took a management fee. So that's how we put it together. So it was 5 or 6 close family friends. It wasn't blasted online. It was person to person.
What was the average raise from that? How much did you need to raise, and what was the average?
Yeah, so we raised $2 million.
2 million?
Yeah, $2 million was
5 people?
5 to 6 people. Yeah, 5 to 6
Nice.
people. But we had one large investor, so that's what it was. So one large investor, about 700,000 right there, and then the rest were some at 100, some at 150, some at 200. So, we put it together, and it was good. It was fun. So, and the other thing was, we were raising the whole time. From when you get the land, get in their contract, negotiate it, all that stuff takes time, and you have to talk, right? You have to go meet people. You have to build those relationships. So yeah, it was a great project. Went all the way, even through COVID. We were able to cash flow. We were able to give our returns back to our investors, and it's an asset that we're going to hold in the portfolio for 15 years.
Dang.
Fully depreciated, still in use.
Okay, so you talked about the great times of hotels. Okay, so it sounds awesome. Challenges. Tell me some challenges. Tell me some horror stories. I want to hear some horror stories. I want to compare it to my multifamily horror stories. Let's see which one's worse.
So you hit my pain point a little bit. So employees, right? Managing employees is definitely difficult, but it's also a beautiful thing, right? Like you get to talk to people, you build the relationship, they trust you, I trust them. One of my employees, housekeepers, she just broke her foot this past weekend hiking, and she's my best housekeeper. She's my head housekeeper. And she's like a big sister to me. And so today, I was just jogging, and I gave her a call, and I said, "Hey, how are you feeling?" Those kinds of things. You start building those relationships. So it's a great thing. But a horror story with employees. So when COVID happened, obviously, most people heard about the great resignation. Some of y'all might have been part of it. And so I felt like nobody wanted to work, in 2021. Everyone had, payments coming in, unemployment, all that stuff. And it was difficult to find employees that were working in the hotel industry, restaurant industry, kind of like those level of jobs. And I don't mean any disrespect, but it was tough to find people that were willing to put their face out, their health on the line to work and interact with people every single day. So it was really difficult. But one of the hardest parts was not even the resignation, but dealing with COVID itself, right? It was so infectious that if one person on the team got sick, the whole team got sick. And at least if somebody quits, I can go and hire someone else. But if somebody's just out sick, I'm not going to hire somebody else just to cover me for 7 days or for 10 days while they're in isolation. And so one of the biggest horror stories we had was at this property, my very first one, the one that we developed. I had my front desk, they got COVID, and it just passed on from one shift to the next shift to the next shift. And I happened to be in town. I was doing my property visits, and I had never worked on the front desk in my life. I had never worked on the front desk. And it got down to my general manager and me. We were the only people who didn't have COVID. So my GM would work a 12-hour shift, and then I would go in at night while, hopefully most people were checked in, and he would write on a Post-it note, these are the buttons that you have to click to check people in, to do this, to do that. And he would go into one of the rooms, he would take a nap for like 8 hours, and I would be manning the front desk for about 8 hours. And it was a mess. Like, I remember somebody came down and told me that their key got deactivated, and they're like, "Can I get a new key?" And I was like, I have no idea how to do this. So I took my master key and I let them in the room physically. Every time someone needed a key, I would go back up to the room. And then it started hitting our housekeepers. So then we lost housekeepers. So I hopped in my car. I went around to local grocery stores. I went around to like Indian grocery stores, like ethnic grocery stores, just looking for people who are looking to work. And I was like, I'll pay you $10, $10.99. Every room you clean, I'll give you $10, $15, $20, whatever you want. Just come. And I literally pick them up. I get them in my car. I drive to the hotel. They'd go to work. It was crazy. It was like a month where this happened. But definitely a horror story in the hotel.
It sounds terrible. It
So many
actually,
of them.
dude, it
I had
reminds
people
me.
in my car that I didn't know, Alex, and I was driving them to work, and I would quickly do like a 1099 form, and I'd be like, "All right, let's go." I'd show them how to clean a room. They'd clean the room, and I'd drive them home. Some of them didn't have cars. I'd drive them home. It was
Dude,
crazy.
it sounds like the restaurant business that I was in.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I would never wish that upon anybody. Anyone that actually says, "Oh, I'm about to start a restaurant, open one," I'm like, "Oh shit." I actually like I get scared for them, you know?
Yeah.
And so I mean that level of stress, I just can't imagine putting myself in there again. So hotels, again. I mean, it just seems like it's so much work to manage all these people. And any given day, there could be that much stress. That was one hotel during COVID. What about the rest? How did you manage all your other hotels through COVID, or how many did you have at the time?
Yeah, ironically, most of our other hotels actually did pretty well. And we had about 10 of them at the time during COVID. Um, Actually, I think it was 9, but yeah, most of them did really well during COVID, especially considering, like PPP, some government assistance we got. We weren't serving breakfast. Housekeeping wasn't working every single day. So we did tremendous during COVID, especially the second half of COVID through
Hmm.
2021. And to go back to why hotels, right? So I invested about $1.1 million in a particular property in Ohio. Um, in 2020, we bought it in 2019 December. In 2020, I made about $250,000 of profit, right? In 2020, so first year. In 2021, I made $860,000 of free cash flow. Of free cash flow. So imagine we invested $1 million, 1.1 million. We returned about 80% return in 2021 alone. And if you combine 2020 and 2021, they made 100% return. We still own that asset and we're still operating it and cranking every single year. And not to say like, so what happened was we increased the revenue. So we took the revenue from about 1.3 million to about 1.9 million. So we increased the revenue about 600,000. Now hotels transact on revenue multiplier. So $600,000 of increase in top line revenue, you multiply that by 4, you could do the math. So $2.4 million of appreciation in value right there, right? Plus it was a hedge against inflation. We own the real estate. Plus we're paying down the debt. So we paid down a considerable amount of debt in these last 4 years, where that's giving us another $150,000 a year in our principal pay down. So that's another, $500,000-$600,000. So, in this last 4 years, not even including the free cash flow, just the appreciation and the equity that we've built, that's about $3 million right there, in 4 years. So on a $1.1 million investment. So that's why hotels, so even through COVID, I mean, we
I
did.
mean, it sounds like you're giving us all the ice cream and all the desserts and all this stuff of hotels. Tell me why not hotels?
Yeah, I mean, again, so it comes back to,
I'm gonna
it
have you
comes,
battle yourself.
that's okay. That's okay. I'm all for it. We're here to open it up. And, I really, if anyone wants to get into hotels, more than happy to help and teach and all of that. But expectations have to be aligned. You have to understand what you're getting into. And so, hotels, you really get as much as you put in. You can get a third party management company. You can invest with a sponsor, right? So why do people invest with me in hotels? So they can take advantage of all of these great advantages and not have to deal with the operations aspect. And now I have the operations down pretty well. And so, I can make one phone call, all these fire drills. I know what to do. We know people. I know how to find the right employees. I know how to bring them on. I have one property that's running without a general manager, and it's fine. We have systems in place to get the next one up, right? So I currently interviewed a general manager today. As soon as I get him on board, he's going to be there and things are going to be rolling. So they'll be great. But why not hotels is, if you're not ready to put in the work, if you're not ready to learn, then I say that it's a risk. But if you're ready to work, if you're ready to wake up early in the morning, push yourself and put in the effort, you're going to kill it, right? So I feel like in multifamily and other real estate, it's a passive investment. This is a business plus real estate plus investment. And so you have to be ready to put in the work. As an entrepreneur, you're always going to be on your toes. Alex, even in multifamily, I know you've been on your toes the last week. It happens, right? And that's the beauty of it. Life isn't fun if there's not ups and downs. You wouldn't know what was good if there wasn't bad. So
okay, well said. I'm not gonna challenge you on that. Okay, so here Jessica says, I'm trying to work less, not more. Managing people is a coin toss. You never know what you're getting. So again, it comes back down to, we're trying to work less, not work more. What's your average cash on? Like, if I was to invest with you passively, what are you going to tell me on your next project? Or let's say your last project, what are you going to return to me? Cash on cash, IRR, all of that.
Yeah. So cash on cash is going to be about 12%. IRR is going to be close to 27 to 31%.
Bro, people aren't even going to invest with me anymore if you keep going.
No, it's
I'm about to not invest with myself anymore.
No, hotels are definitely great, especially if you align yourself with the right people, until you get a hang of it. And to the person who said that they want to work less, I just went to India for about 5 weeks, and I didn't even have phone service. I was too cheap to pay the $10 a day on Verizon. So, with that being said, I mean, I checked in about once a week, with my point of contact here and made sure everything was okay. But, I'm going to Spain in a couple of weeks. And then, we're going on a cruise. I mean, I'm working a lot less than most people, while managing 13 hotels. And it's possible. You just, you have to be ready for the once in a whiles. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And until you scale, you may have to take charge of it. Right. And so even in the most passive investment of single family homes, right, in real estate, you get a home, you get a long-term tenant for 2-3 years. There's times when you don't have a renter, right? You have a vacancy period. And in those 2 months, you might have to replace the carpet, paint the walls. You still got to put in effort, right? And real estate is never a get rich quick scheme. It's not GameStop. It's not AMC. It's not a meme stock, right? It's not Bitcoin. You can't put 20 grand in and think you're going to become a millionaire in a year or two. But it's something that's slow, but it's sure. It's slowly but surely. If you build the blocks right, you build the foundation, over time you're going to get there. So whether that's multifamily or hotels, it's possible. So, and even when you start, right, you want to start with the smaller hotels and then get to the Hyatts. And I have a few students they're sending me deals, and it's like a Hyatt Regency. It's $150 million hotel. And I'm like, this is not where we're going to start.
That's actually interesting because, being around conferences and being in places like with Grant Cardone, things like that, people think that you can just start by looking at $360 million or 360 units, $100 million deals. I don't know. I don't want to tell people or be the person that's projecting limitations. But yeah, I don't think that is feasible. I don't think that's realistic at all. And we do have to manage our real expectations and really what's real for us. What can we accomplish, right? Like if your best friend was Grant Cardone, then yeah, maybe you could do that for sure. But since your best friend is me, then we're limited to what resources I have, right?
Yeah, and I'm all about that. Like, one of the things I truly believe in is like every day my goal is to outwork my potential, right? I want to outwork my own potential. I'm not competing against anyone else, but I want to be the best that I can be and even better than that. And that's what I want to do every single day. And even with that being said, a $350 million multifamily asset as your first deal may be a stretch, but that's the goal. That's the goal. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't get there, but it's stepping stones, right? You have to make your way there. So same thing.
You got that Kobe, that Mamba mentality. I know he's your hero. So yeah, every day
You said it, man. That's who said it.
Okay. I had to go and Google why not to invest in hotels. All right. Just so I can like at least have some ammunition here. And basically everything comes down to if you have bad employees, poor management, things like that. So it's not that easy for somebody to just get into the game. I mean, people can literally fall on their faces really hard here. This is like a restaurant. For me, I think about it, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, if I'm a good operator in a restaurant business and I can get big cash flows, big ROIs and IRRs and all that, but everything comes down to that. And what about competition?
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like a lot of hotels, I mean, when you go somewhere, it's like 10 hotels next to each other. That's a lot of like paying attention to, oh, what do I have to set my prices at? That's an everyday thing. Times 13 property. It just sounds like just the thought of all that makes me like kind of cringe. And then if I depend on you, right, you're an operator and I give you the money, what happens if something happens to you, right? So now this is like an operator based type of investment, because if your successor takes over, they may lose all my money.
Yeah, I know. I mean, great points. And I've actually
good. Thank you.
You've been watching too much Shark Tank, because that sounds like a Mr. Wonderful kind of statement. What if you get hit by a bug?
It's Google.
Okay. No, so you had two questions. The first one was, again, back to the employees. So I don't believe in third-party management, but when you start, either align yourself with a mentor or a coach, or get a third-party management company and learn from them, right? Learn every single day. And it's okay. You give them 4% of your top line revenue. It's not that much money. If you buy a hotel to begin with, maybe it does $1.2 million in revenue. That comes out to $40,000, $50,000 a year. Pay that and learn from them. It's okay if it takes you a year. It's okay if it takes you 2 years, but get a third-party management company. Now you're completely hands-off. Now your only responsibility is to learn. And anyway, when you invest in a property, you should know what's going on, the ins and outs of it. And a lot of people, a lot of hotel owners, that's what they do. They just hire third-party management companies. They build good relationships. There's a ton of them. If any of you guys are buying a hotel, I'll even refer you to a couple of them. I even have 2 of them at 2 of my properties. Sorry, I have 1 of them at 2 of my properties. And they're managing everything. And one of the reasons why was, when we got into Marriott, I wasn't 100% sure about, the bar aspect and this and that. And so we hired a third-party management company, and I'm learning from them. I'm learning from them every single day. And I make sure, and that's how I hedge, that risk. Or you can align yourself with somebody who does know more than you in the hotel space, someone who has 15, 20 years of experience, and you can invest with them and learn from them, right? Yeah. So those are 2 ways that you hedge that, and you learn how to, manage the employees, all that. And if you don't like it, if you don't love it, you never want to do it, sacrifice a little bit of the ROI, sacrifice a little bit of the cash flow. There's plenty of it, and allow the third-party management and continue to scale, right? But then you have to make sure that you're managing that third-party management company. You can never, and you do the same thing in multifamily. I've seen you're on top of your numbers. You're making sure that they're performing according to budget, and you want to make sure you gotta every single month. I take a whole day and I'm reviewing all of our P&Ls. I'm highlighting. Labor looks a little high. I call my GM. I ask, why is labor a little bit high this month? And they give me a reasonable explanation, and I say, okay, cool. And as long as we're making money, I'm okay with it, right? So, but now now I'm tapped in. Last month I saw our energy bill was extremely
and they know that you know.
Yeah, exactly. And when there's overtime and they're not covering the shift, they know that I'm gonna ask them next month. So they're gonna try to cover that, right? So, but again, I was gonna say last month I saw our energy bill was a little bit high. And I caught it, and I found out that our energy contract had expired, and we quickly renewed it, and we're able to remedy that, right? So, and if you guys don't know, energy or like electricity, when you have a hotel, a lot of times you can wholesale it, or you can buy it in bulk and get a negotiated rate, even with your local electric. So all these things you can learn, all these tricks, and you can tweak, and you can make your process and your management more efficient, and that adds so much money to the bottom line. The $1,000 that I'll save every single month in my energy, that's $12K a year, right? On $1 million investment, $12K a year, that's 1.2%. So it makes a huge difference, and you're able to really control how much money you're going to take home, based on how much work. Your second question was, what if I get run over by a bus? And what happens to my successor? And again, so that's the beautiful thing about real estate. Real estate has value in itself, inherent value. And so what happens is, obviously when we have investors, we think about all these scenarios, and what would happen is we would transact it at market value, which 9 times out of 10, the way we do business is I'm not looking for a property that's completely distressed. I'm not looking for a property that, it's a home run. I gotta, rags to riches kind of stuff. I'm looking for hotels that are stable, cash flowing, I know is in a good location, and we're going to be able to grow year over year, and then bring in our management, bring in that efficiency, and increase the bottom line. So there's growth potential in general, and then there's also management potential. And that together makes the home run deal. We're not coming in getting a distressed property where if I get run over during, the distress part, we're going to sell it for less than what we bought it for. So
is that the protocol? Like if something happens to you, all your properties just go up for sale for market price?
No, not necessarily. So I do have a team in place.
I thought we had an opportunity here.
Right. Hey, I'm not about to tell anybody where I live.
So, no, not about you. I'm just saying in general, if that's like a practice in the hotel industry, maybe we just go and look for people that are deceased and take.
I saw Jake's mouth open up. He's like, "Dang, good pursuit day." No, but we have a team in place, so the team would essentially, be able to make that decision. We have a property like the Marriott I mentioned. We bought it a year ago. We bought it for about 9.1, and we just got an offer for it for about 11.8. That's in 12 months. So in general, we're buying, and instantly we're putting in our processes and making it more efficient and things like that. So,
yeah. Okay. So as we kind of start to come towards the end, everyone just start thinking about some questions that you can ask here, but I'll start with a couple things here. So first of all, for everyone that's here, okay, you are like way ahead of the game than your friends that aren't here, because you're in a room of people that you could become partners with, right? Like I'm looking for people like Sujay. I'm looking for people that are like at my level or higher so that I can level up. You guys can all level up around each other. Maybe by yourself, you can afford a $500,000 property. Then you put 2 people together, and now you can afford like an $800,000 property. And you put those together, and I don't know, you guys could create something else. Also, there are people that are at different levels in here. This is why you want to be in here. You want to have these conversations with people so that you can find out, who do I want to partner with, right? Like I'm big. This is the 3 types of people that I look for and I identify in my life. People that I can lend a hand to help them up, people that are my peers that I'm going to do deals with, and people that are above that I want to learn from and figure out, how I can provide value for them so that I can level up quicker. And that's like the mentors. That's the people that's got the deals already. Like, why would they want me? Why would they want me to be a partner? Right. So you got to figure out your offering. That means you got to be in spaces to even recognize what your gifts and your offerings are. Because most people ask this question to me. How can I help you? How can I help you? How can I be, like, if I want to be on Sujay's team and I want to get into a deal with Sujay, I'm like, hey, Sujay, how can I help you? Now I'm making Sujay do homework. He's got to figure out how I can help him. He doesn't even know what I got or what my capabilities are, my gifts are, right? So you got to put yourself in rooms and in places where you can start to have an opportunity to figure out what you're offering, what your gifts, and what you can bring to the table. And that begins here in these rooms. These types of rooms are perfect for you to meet somebody, to start creating that type of engagement. So most of the times what happens when we go into breakout rooms, people are like, I've been here, my camera's off, I was half cooking, half in the bathroom, half putting my makeup on my way out the door or going to sleep, and you didn't hear all of it. And by the time the breakout room comes, like, oh shit, I gotta go, you know. And about 20% of the people drop as soon as we're like, all right, breakout room's about to happen. But that is the most important time. That's why you want to stay for that, right? So you have opportunities in here. You have resources like me and Sujay and probably some other hidden people in this group that are like pretty big time and kind of just listening to, hey, what's Alex and Sujay talking about today? So yeah, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, and then we'll take some questions.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think it's when Alex and I have been hanging out, I picked his brain a little bit about what his vision is. And one thing that he always, it was always aligned in every single answer he gave me, was that he wants to create a community. And that's his goal, right? Like one of his goals is to create a community. And I think that's beautiful. What you said is, don't be afraid to collaborate. There's enough deals to go around. And if both people can be in a symbiotic relationship, there's nothing better than winning together. When I do invest in multifamily, I always invest with people like Alex, or, he mentioned Vina. So Vina, those are the people that I lean on because they're experts and they're going to help me achieve my goals. And likewise, when, Alex wants to do hotels, he'll call me and we'll work together to put a deal together. Right. And so even at this level, we're always collaborating. We're always working together. It's not something that he's saying just because you're starting, or, he thinks that you can't do it alone. You can always do everything alone, but it's so much more fun. And it's so much more, you get so much more creative, and you can have those dialogues. You push yourself, you push each other, you hold each other accountable. And I think it's a great thing. So it's pretty cool that you do these breakout sessions.
Yeah. Every time I do something alone, actually, if I have success, I really am I'm like, wow, I'm so freaking lucky that happened. Right. But most of the times I actually lose money or lose sleep or lose a whole ton of time. Like, what a waste, because I'm doing it alone. I'm like, all right, let me figure it out. Like, for example, we have a 300 unit storage deal in Florida that we closed. We spent about 2 months doing it alone. We're like, yeah, we're going to bring a third party company in, and we go and do all these things, figure all these things out. And then we find out, we're like, all right, well, here comes the property management company that we finally like. And they come in and they already got all of that times 10. And I'm like, oh my God, we just wasted time and probably some money. Yes, we did learn. That's great. But, now we have a class A management company just like teaching us. I mean, I'm like, we're paying you like a small fee to teach us all this stuff. And so, yeah, thank you. And for me and Sujay coming together, like, we kicked it off right away in Houston, because we were like, working with teams was one thing we had in common. Our faith was one thing in common. Community building, like just being around people. We're like, all right, I didn't know what he could bring to the table, and he didn't really know what I could bring to the table. All we knew was, I really want to work with you, right? He was willing to fly to Las Vegas just to figure out what we can work on together. And we underwrote some deals, and we're putting in an offer on a deal. Like, we had a verbal offer, we got beat, but we're going to go back to it. We'll figure it out. It's such a great property. I'm just like, I'm still thinking about it all the time, but we're definitely going to do something together. And it's because we just gel really well. You know, he loves basketball. I love basketball. He talks about the Mamba mentality. So just, you know, more and more we find the things that we like together. And we're like, all right, well, that's a good indicator that we can work together in whatever business. Right. So you guys have the opportunity to find that here in these rooms too. And I know a lot of people have said to me, oh my God, I'm so glad that I met Jessica Garcia. I'm so glad I met Miriam. I'm so glad I met this. Tons of success and just great stories out of these breakout rooms. So let's take some questions, okay, from people. Yes, he is the hoteler. Let's see. Do we have questions? You can either type them or you can raise your hand. So I can't actually see that well. Actually, you know what? Let me close this part on my phone.
Okay, Jose's first and Jake's second.
What was it?
Jose is first.
All right, Jose, go ahead, brother.
Hello there. Hey, thanks for the meeting. As always, amazing. Hey, I wish I work with your guest at some point, but I will just give him like a very short recommendation because the last 4 years I have been working with Quest Agnostic, staying in a different hotel almost every day. So the hotels are like Holiday Inn, Wyndham, all these like three-star hotels, which are good. But there is a problem, and probably I will ask a question for him. Like from thousand, let's say almost 1,000 of hotels, 60% their fan in the restroom doesn't work. And I see everything getting super wet and super moist. And I'm like, bro, how do they keep this hotel safe with the moist? Imagine in Florida, that problem happening. How do they keep the hotel in shape if the rooms don't have a fan extracting when you take a shower? Imagine in the cold, you need hot water. So I don't know why, but they don't fix the fan. So my question for him is like, does he think, sorry, because I'm not seeing his face right now. Question for you, Mr. Mehta. Sujay, do you think it's that important to have the fan working? Because I see 60% of the hotel, not exaggerating, they don't work. And again, in a super nice room, and I asked my partner, hey guys, do you have that problem? Yeah, we have the problem. What's going on with that? Do you know something about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a good question. And I do believe that, I think your question was, do I think it's important to have fans in the room? I absolutely think it's important to have fans in the room.
In the restroom, sorry, in the restroom.
In the restroom.
The structures. I mean the structure, sorry, the structure.
Yeah, the exhaust. You're talking about the exhaust.
Yeah, the exhaust.
Yes,
exactly.
So we do have exhaust fans in every single one of our bathrooms in our hotels. So I don't know where you are based out of, but you definitely need to come stay at our properties. Because I promise you, we have the exhaust, not just for the moisture, but definitely the smell of the bathroom and all of that. So we do have exhaust, but again, it's important to remember that each hotel is owned by individual franchisees. And so some of those things can be options for each franchisee. And then some of the things are mandated by Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, Wyndham, Holiday Inn, like all the brands that you mentioned as well. And so some people do have the option, to have them or don't have or not have them in some of the properties. So, it kind of depends on who owns it and how they build it. So
thank you. Sorry, because it's not that they don't have it. It's just that it's the same like Best Western on the highway, Fairfield, Marriott, La Quinta, Holiday Inns, which I really like because they are, I don't know how do you guys do that, but they're like the newest and everything you need is there. But I mean, like the fans are there. It's just that they don't work. It's like I also once open a ceiling because I didn't want to call people. It was so late. I'm like, no, I want to fix this. And I unscrew and I brought the fan and it had like kilometers of dust. And I'm like, what? And I wash it and then it started working. I'm like, why don't they just fix it? So that's my question. Like, I'm so curious. Like, it's like they never, I don't know why so many fans don't work, So that was kind of like the question.
Yeah.
No, and just telling you, just to let you know that happens. I have seen it hundreds and hundreds of different hotels. So, okay, in United States. Okay.
Yeah, no, and I think that it comes back to the importance of, you know, having boots on the ground or having a manager and inspiring that manager to get out. And you said it was such a simple issue that could be fixed so easily. And so just having somebody, and those are the things that I do on my weekly calls is I make sure my manager, I have them check, you know, 5 rooms every single day before they leave and that kind of stuff. So, but good question, man. We'll keep going. I know there's a few.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey.
Jake from State Farm is here.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, thanks, Alex, for having this call every week. Sujay, I'm sorry for getting a little excited before about the John Wick comment towards you. But I wanted to know, you know, when you're underwriting a hotel, I know there's different, and I was there when Alex was talking about the hotels and on our last call, and, you know, the underwriting seems a little different. And I was wondering how you come up with the NOI in regards to your, as you mentioned, the rates change, right? So in multifamily, everything's pretty much similar rates across the board. So how do you come up with that determination, especially if you're doing developments? Like, what are you basing those numbers off of, and how do you calculate that?
Dude, awesome. Great question. Great question. So this is why I recommended that anyone who wants to start out with acquisitions. The beautiful thing about hotels is you have 3 years of history. So if there's $2 million of business happening in that hotel year over year, you have to screw something up to lose that. But that business exists. Those are clients. A lot of them are going to be repeat clients, but usually a property will get its market share of business. And so you can look at the last 3 or 5 or 10 years of revenue for that asset, and you can see, you know, what we call it ADR. So because you said rates change every single day, it's average daily rate, right? So when you're thinking of multifamily, it would be like a monthly rate. So what's the monthly rent? Here, it's an average daily rate. You got to take the average over a year. And so you can get that directly from the P&L from the previous year or the previous year before that and whatnot. There's also something what's called a STAR report. So it's STR report. And that gives you the entire comp set or the competitive set. So the market, your competitive market that you have, it tells you, you know, for similar hotels in a 5-mile radius or 10-mile radius or whatever you set the parameter at, what is the occupancy, what is the rate every single day, and then what is the combined factor. So if you have if you have 100% occupancy but just 1 room, that doesn't mean anything, right? Or if you have 50% occupancy but 1,000 rooms, you're still doing a lot of revenue. So it gives you something called a RevPAR, so revenue per available room. And so it gives you these 3 metrics. It gives you trends. It gives you all the data that you need to study and kind of make a decision. Is this a good property for me to look further into? And then we continue to do underwriting 1, 2, 3, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and we keep doing it. One of the deals that Alex was talking about, it's a conversion deal. And so for that, we requested the STAR report because we don't have historical financials that are going to be 100% accurate. So we requested the STAR report. We got the STAR report. And from that, I'm able to say, okay, we have, 100 rooms at this property. This is the market rate. Now, if I'm going to be the newest hotel on the block, I just got to steal business, right? Like if there's a brand new hotel and then 5 hotels that are 10 years old, which one are you staying at? The brand new one. It's a no-brainer, right? So if that business exists in the market, you give yourself 1 or 2 years to ramp up, but more likely than not, you're going to get your market share maybe a little bit more, being the newest and the best on the block. So
good point. So second to that question is, if I was to invest in a hotel now, what are some questions and what would I want to look for from the operator? I mean, I definitely obviously got to see the track record, but if I'm looking at an underwriting, let's say, what am I looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you said first and foremost, you want to look at who's sponsoring the deal, who's the person who's going to be running it, who's the decision maker. You want to understand the way they think, how they think, make sure that they're going to be, involved in the business. If they're not directly involved in the operation, they're hiring a third-party management company. Ask who that third-party management company is. Do your research on that. And then the rest of it underwrites very similarly to any real estate. There's top line revenue, there's expenses. So the expenses are a little bit different. Payroll might be a little bit higher than what it would for multifamily. There might be breakfast costs, or there might be, linen costs and all these other expenses that will kind of trickle down. And then there will be something, what we call EBITDA. So EBITDA is, pronounced both ways. So everything before interest, taxes, depreciation, all that, all of that. So you look at that number and then you subtract what your debt service is going to be. And
it's
that
the NOI of hotels.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so the
gotta make it complicated for the normal
right?
people to not understand.
So you
Got
get,
it.
well, you get the, and then it has the NOI as well, and you add all the interest and all that stuff. So you look at your NOI and you underwrite it just like you would any deal. And so, underwriting is one of my favorite things to teach. I can underwrite with my phone and my calculator in 5 minutes. I can tell you if a deal's worth it or not. And then if it's worth it, then obviously, you dig in deeper and you get more involved. But I love underwriting. So back of the napkin.
Awesome. So, okay. Last question, PJ, and then we will go into some breakout rooms.
Cool. Thanks, Alex. So my question, Sujay, is if somebody wanted to invest in hotel, just like syndication, multifamily, somebody new has some money, how would they get started? That's one. And it's a two-part question. Let's say you have a lot of money, and currently, how do you feel about, between all the asset classes, where does hotel stand based on the returns you're getting? Would you invest in hotel, or you will pivot?
He's going hotels all day. Here he's going hotels all day, any day, he said.
Yeah. So,
okay, I missed.
No, it's okay. I know you joined late. I saw your comment in the chat.
Yes. Thank
you.
So
one of the best things about hotels is, and you mentioned specifically if you have a lot of money, right? So people with a lot of money deal with something called taxes, and they pay a lot of taxes. One of the best things about hotels is it offers one of the best tax benefits of any real estate class, because you're able to do a cost segregation, which you're also able to do. I see Alex smiling. You're also able to do in multifamily. But in hotels, you have the furniture, and a large component of the hotel is furniture, and those get depreciated a lot faster than, a lot of the other things in multifamily or other asset classes. And so, sometimes we'll invest $2 million into a hotel deal and we'll get $2.3 million of depreciation. So if you invest 100,000, you would get $130,000 of negative K1 on your taxes. So, I mean, one, that's a great benefit, but we never sell that. That's just a cherry on top. What we sell is the cash flow, the returns that you get every single year. That's the beautiful thing. But sometimes we do hold the asset for 7 or 10 years because we have that, great cash flow that's coming in. And then we can refinance in 5 years, pull out the capital, and then it's unlimited ROI. So, that's the beautiful thing about hotels. That's why I prefer investing in hotels.
Bro, bring you onto this call. I'm gonna have no investors in the future. You know what? I think I'm gonna shift my position. I'm gonna pivot. You and I gotta hang out more. Or you're coming back out to Vegas. We're doing something. That's the next deal.
I'll keep investing with Alex. I will. Everything
you keep me afloat. I'll bring everybody else to this call.
You have to diversify. And so again, if you want to syndicate hotels, we do syndicate hotels. But I'm pretty conservative. So I say no 99 times before I say yes once. So, get in touch with me. Again, Instagram is a good way. It's Suj Mehta. Get in touch with me, and we'll definitely get your email and keep you posted when we do have a new offering that comes.
Yeah. You're also gonna be at my summit. Like, you're gonna be one of my guests there. Like, that's definitely happening. All right.
I'm excited about
your call scheduled this week with me.
I'm excited about the impact portion. That's what truly inspires me is, I want to make an impact. So
yeah, love it. Okay. Seriously, last question. Kathy, go ahead.
Yes. So are your hotels international or just?
Yeah. Good question. So my hotels are all in the US. A majority of my assets are in Ohio. With that being said, we are looking in Vegas. We're actually currently have an LOI on a deal in Miami at the moment. And, you know, we do kind of invest all over the country. So, but not internationally yet.
Okay, the reason why I asked, because I know Alex went to Belize to visit, and I have a hotel investment in Belize.
Oh, wow.
So maybe we can connect.
Yeah, congratulations on that. We'd love to connect. And the reason why I said not yet is, you know, again, even me, like I would love to align with people who might know a little bit more than me in those specific markets. And, you know, it helps hedge that risk factor of any kind of investment. So
Yeah, this is run by Hilton Curio. So would that be considered like the third party? They manage.
yep, third party would
Employees.
manage, and whoever owns it would be a franchisee of Hilton. So we own a Home 2 by Hilton, we own a Hampton by Hilton. Curio is a great flag, you know, within the Hilton brand. So good.
Okay.
Yep, definitely good question. And
You know, my wife chose, of all the hotel cards, she chose the Hilton card. So there must be more here between us. Okay. So I got this Hilton card that I'm trying to get to the global member. I'm like, I gotta stay at more Hiltons.
Yeah.
But damn it, Hiltons are so friggin' expensive.
Don't worry.
Right, so
The hidden best part about investing in hotels is the owner benefits. So any Hilton we go to, we're chilling.
oh, okay. All
Hey,
right.
Sujay,
all right.
I was gonna ask about owner benefits in like 2 seconds, if you can tell. I know those there are friends and family program and owner, you know.
Yeah.
I was a friend and family member, you know, but she lost job during COVID, so I don't no longer have that
Yeah.
benefit. But
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, usually when we have our investors, you know, it depends. If we syndicate it, we will have a minimum to be able to offer those kinds of benefits to our partners. But yeah, I mean, definitely, you know, you get all those great friends and family, employee, owner benefits. So, you know, I probably shouldn't say this, but sometimes I stay at Hilton resorts for about $55 overseas, you know.
Bro. Okay,
typically.
so does that friends and family thing that works for all Hiltons or just the ones you own?
Hey, Alex,
all
hit me
Hilton.
up offline, bro.
Okay, all right.
I'm about to
Everybody,
get
delete that. Delete that.
105,000 followers.
Well, this just points to you guys. Look, you got to make connections. You got to meet people, man. Like he's one of the people this year that I've met that I'm like so proud of my year already because I met him. Right. So like I feel like I've already accomplished my yearly goals. I'm like, I always tell everyone, make 1 or 2 really great connections and you're going to be fine. Okay. So, all right, that's it. No more. I know everybody's got a million questions. If you want to continue to chat with him, DM him on Instagram. I'm going to send out this recording in an email with his contact info, and he will be at the summit on 420 or he will have more information there. And, yeah, we'll definitely bring him back at some point. Maybe he's gonna kill the multifamily business. So next time that you guys see me syndicating a deal, you can be like, man, why is Alex doing hotels? Well, now you know why. You're witnessing it right here, right now. So, okay, Nick, can you break everybody out into 4s into the rooms and give everybody 10 minutes? Sujay, if you want to hop off, or if you want to hop into the room, or if you want to hang out with me here in the main room,
No,
I'll
stay for a little bit. So I want to experience this. It would be cool to be in a room.
All right, cool. Nick, send everybody out to the 10 minutes, 4 people per room.
Alrighty. Everyone's good.